Hi everybody, welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to be showing you how to make homemade pizza dough. Now I know that pizza is obviously usually generalized as a cheat meal or like a guilty pleasure, but I'm here to tell you today that it does not have to be a guilty pleasure. It can be actually a meal that you get nutrition from, and doesn't need to be just pepperoni and cheese and super unhealthy. But I'm going to show you right now how to make the dough. It's super simple, super quick, and it can be pulled together in like 10 minutes. And then pretty much the yeast does all the work because it's just going to be rising for like an hour. So it's very simple ingredients. It's nothing crazy, despite common belief. What I have is some warm water. This is just less than a cup. Like, it's so simple to make. This, by the way, feeds about 2 people. So if you're feeding a family of 4 or 6, you can just scale the recipe. But here I have some warm water. I also have just a little bit of cane sugar and some yeast. And then I have some Himalayan pink salt and a little bit more cane sugar. So we're going to use some sugar for the yeast because it needs something to help it rise. And then we're going to use some just in the dough. Here I have some multigrain flour, and I have some extra virgin olive oil. So first thing we're going to do is add the yeast and the sugar to our water and just give that a quick little stir, and then let that do its thing. And then as for the olive oil, like I said, it's just extra virgin, but you can use vegetable oil if you prefer that. I think olive oil is obviously much healthier and it adds really nice flavor. So I'm just gonna wait for this to get foamy and then we'll come back to it. Okay, so I can see that our yeast has gotten foamy. I don't know if you can see that, but it has like a little foamy kind of film just on the top, and that's exactly what we want. I'm just gonna add in my multigrain flour to my bowl. And you can use whole wheat flour, you can use white flour. What I found is that whole wheat flour tends to get very tough, and it's like, I don't know how to describe it. It gets really chewy and it's not fluffy. So I use multigrain. It's a little bit healthier than white flour. And yeah, so I'm also gonna add in my sugar and my salt. This is Himalayan pink salt because table salt has literally no nutritional value. At least Himalayan pink salt, you get some minerals that are good for you. And then we're gonna add in the yeast, and so add that in. And we're also gonna add in our olive oil, extra virgin olive oil. I'm not even gonna measure this. You just need about a tablespoon, but I mean, it's fine. You don't need to measure and be super precise. Add that in, and then I'm just gonna use a spoon and just mix that up. And yeah, you will get to a point where you will need to use your hands, so this is a little bit messy, but it's all worth it because this literally tastes so good, and no outside pizza shop will ever taste like the homemade version. So it's totally worth it. But I'm just going to lightly mix this together with the spoon, just that way all the liquid kind of starts to absorb. And then once it starts to come together, I'm going to use my hands and knead this for 10 minutes. So I know it's a little bit of a long time. If you have a standing mixer, you can use that. I do have a standing mixer, like a KitchenAid, and I have used that a couple times, but I wanted to use my hands today because I wanted to show you that you don't need fancy equipment. You can just do it with a spoon, a bowl in your hands, and you're good to go. So I'm going to probably start using my hands now. I'm just gonna go wash my hands first, and then I'm gonna come back, knead this for 10 minutes, and then I will show you what it looks like when we're done. So I just finished kneading the dough. So you can see it's come together beautifully. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab a little bit more of our extra virgin olive oil, and I'm just gonna put about maybe 1 to 2 teaspoons, very little. You don't want to put too much, just in the bowl, because now what we're gonna do is we're gonna let this dough rise. And this is when really all the magic happens. This is when you could now go for a workout, a run. You could just get some work done. You don't need to really think about dinner too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to form our dough. Just gets a little bit messy as well. Just going to form the dough into a little ball. And what I do is you pinch it all the way at the bottom, and then you twist. Sorry, that's my dog's running. And I'm going to use this olive oil to basically grease the bowl, because when it rises, the dough can become very sticky. So if you don't grease it, what's going to happen is when you go to take out the dough, it's going to be a mess. You're going to probably have to like pry the dough off of the bowl, and it's just a big mess. You're gonna waste a lot of dough, and we don't want that. It's just gonna make your job a lot harder. I'm just gonna use some cling wrap. This is BPA-free cling wrap, and this is just gonna go into your microwave or your oven. Obviously with it turned off, you don't want this to cook yet. It's just somewhere where there's no drafts, it's a little bit warm, somewhere where the yeast can rise and it's not going to be disrupted by wind or movement or any form of draft. It's just a little cocoon where the dough can rise. So I'm just going to put this in my microwave with the microwave turned off for about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour. If this is on your counter, it might take up to an hour and a half. But just keep an eye on it, check on it around the 45-minute mark, and then that's pretty much it. So I'm just gonna let this do its thing, and then we will come back when we're ready to roll up dough. Okay, so now that the pizza has come out of the microwave, I rolled it out, and like I said, this can feed 1 to 2 people. So I split the dough in half and I just rolled it out. I like a thin crust pizza, so that's how I made mine. On my pizza, I'm gonna be putting zucchini, orange and red peppers, mushrooms, and onions. And then for the cheese, like I said, we're gonna be using dairy-free cheese. So here I have some Daiya. This is the cheddar one, and you don't have to use this if you're okay with having no cheese, or if you eat dairy, then obviously you can put that, but I don't eat dairy, and I definitely recommend that you don't put it in your diet. I mean, it's not good for you, and this is a much healthier version. Like I said, you can completely customize this. You don't have to use the same toppings that I'm using. You can make it a pizza on white, which is basically just no sauce. It's pretty much up to you. And also I have my oven preheated to 425 because you want this to bake at a pretty high temperature. I wouldn't put your oven any higher than 425 unless obviously you have a commercial grade oven. But if you're just baking this in your home, to prevent a fire, I would not put it any higher than 425. And that's already preheated. So that looks pretty good to me for the sauce. I don't want too much. And we have our Daiya, which literally this tastes so good. If you are vegan, or even if you're not vegan, anybody will pretty much love this. So then I'm just gonna add my onion. I'm not adding too much because I don't want so much onion that it's like overpowering. And I'm gonna add my zucchini. These are just the toppings that I really like. I'm just gonna add the mushrooms, and then we're done. So when you have your toppings, just spread them out to the edge so that way everything cooks evenly and it's a flat surface. And that's pretty much it. It's so simple to make. So I'm gonna pop this into my oven, 425 for 25 minutes. Keep an eye on it, it can burn really quickly. And then when it comes out, we can eat it, and that's it. So now that the pizza has come out of the oven, I recommend letting it sit for about 5 minutes on your counter, because as soon as it comes out, it's very hot, and not only will you burn your mouth, but also it just kind of will fall apart and it won't be very stable. So let it sit for a couple minutes and then cut it. But I'm finally ready to dig into my pizza. It looks so, so, so good. So I'm just going to go in for this little size. As you can see, it's literally like pizza. It's a little bit smaller because it is a personal size, but it's very good. I will leave the link to the recipe in the down bar below, so you can go to my website, KristinJongman.com, and look at the recipe there. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And if you make this, make sure to tag me on Instagram at KristinJongman so I can see your recreation. And I will see you all in my next video. Bye!